Hello, everyone, and welcome to the after video for the June 2025 Power Club meeting. If you are watching this and wondering what the Power Club even is, well, the Power Club is my monthly chronic pain support group that doubles as a book club where I go through not only books, but educational videos and resources for people suffering from and overcoming chronic pain conditions. This month's book is going to be When the Body Says No. So if you'd like to get involved and start reading this book, you're more than welcome to. And the book we had last month that we're going to talk about today is The Expectation Effect by David Robson. These books were pivotal in shaping my philosophy when it comes to overcoming chronic pain and helped me, someone who was diagnosed with CRPS 10 years ago, eventually find myself pain free. If you would like to join the Power Club, there's going to be a link down in the description below. This club is $7 a month, and it gives you access not only to the club, but to a community hub where you can talk and interact with other people in the group. This is growing rapidly into a great support system for those involved, and I would love to have you join us at any time. Other than that, I also offer, of course, my 8-week online self-guided CRPS program that you can join also with the link in the description down below. And if you're looking for something a little more customized that a couple of the people in the Power Club mentioned in this video, I offer one-on-one pain coaching where I walk hand in hand with you to help you get out of pain. If any of that is of interest to you, you can visit the links in the description down below. Also, a lot of the resources mentioned in this video, such as videos that I like, links to some of the books, those are all going to be in the description down below. I am happy to have everyone that's in the Power Club so far, and I'm excited to see it grow as the weeks go on. So sit back and enjoy this free video. And if you feel like this is something you want to join, we'd love to have you. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you learned something. Please do comment below if you did and what you took away from this video. And additionally, if you're not subscribed yet, you know, based on my statistics, 80% of you watching this are not subscribed to my YouTube channel. It's totally free. I would love if you hit that subscribe button down there and maybe leave the video a like if you learned something. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Nice. So welcome everybody to Power Club meeting 2 for June of 2025. I'm excited to keep going and actually review our last book, which is hopefully you guys read the right one, right? The Expectation Effect.
Hmm? Yes.
Okay. And you didn't have to read the whole thing or anything, as much as you could get done is what I like. If you read the whole thing, that's great, but I know life gets busy. So, I think there's lessons throughout these books that can be carried forward and especially applied to CRPS as a whole. So before we get into the book itself, I want to know those of you that, oh, Jose's here, sweet. Um, I'll let him know we're started. Um, we'll let him join in and then I'll tell him, hey, Jose. I can't hear you or see you yet, so I just want to let you know that um, we've started recording the meeting and we're talking about our goals from this last month and how we did on them. So, um, my goal for the last month before we signed off was to take and edit 50 photos. And that was quite an ambitious goal, and I had failed my goal. But I did get my camera out more than I have in a long time, and I did take a lot of photos. And so I'll pull up just a few of my favorites for you guys to see to hold myself accountable. And I'm going to continue that goal over the next month until next time so that I can continue practicing and honing my craft. Okay. So as you know, I was in Tokyo last time we talked. And so I got out and I took some photos. So here is one that I did of the sky tree in Tokyo.
Wow.
This is another
My
version of
favorite
that.
color. That's so pretty. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you. And I'll just show you 8. Another one of the sky tree. This is a random motorcycle in Kyoto. This is the Torii Gates
Oh, I like.
out there. Another one.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's see. And one more. So those are some of my favorite ones that I took, and I'll need
Awesome.
to
Very.
co commit a little bit harder this next month to those photos. But that's mine. Anybody want to share how they did on their goals for the next one?
Share.
Okay, Jen, go for it.
I'm pretty excited. My goal was to try and not wear my brace out. It's over a year that I had to since my accident, and I was wearing a brace on my right hand everywhere I went. I was trying not to at home, only when I did like housework or had to pick up something heavy, but out I was scared because I'd get bumped
Yeah.
and my fingers hurt. Sorry, I woke up today like with a frog.
It's okay.
Sorry.
You're good.
Um, and my wrist was really, that's the issue was my wrist flexion and stuff and then and pain and my fingers. So I didn't want it to get bumped out and about or having to open some door. I don't know how heavy it is, like somebody else's, door on their car. So anyway, that was my goal. And I was so excited. Yesterday was our anniversary and we drove 8 hours total. So we went 4 hours to the destination and then spent 4 hours there and then 4 hours back. So it was a
Yeah.
long day, but super fun. I didn't wear my brace at all. I was just so excited.
That's fantastic. That makes me super
Awesome.
happy. And I saw on Facebook your smiles and stuff on that drive. So it looked like you guys had a blast for your
Yeah,
anniversary.
it was really nice. We got out of the heat. I mean, it was still hot there. It was 91, but it was over like 110 here. So it was like a nice break.
Yeah.
Um, but it was beautiful because we got up into the pine trees and it was like I'm from Oregon, so it felt like we're a day in Oregon. So it was nice. We got to go to a lake and, eat our lunch and we had dinner there and a nature center and it was just really nice to be together.
Yeah.
But the cool thing, I mean, I was in a lot of pain yesterday, but it was like I still was able to have fun.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing is even if the pain is here, we can live life and have a great time. Um, if
So
you're
I was
if
pretty
you're
excited.
if you're open to it, can I show them the picture of you guys on the
Oh,
drive, or
sure,
is that okay?
sure.
Okay,
I didn't even
I've
post any of my other pictures yet.
well, we'll be looking forward to them, but this makes me excited to see you guys out on
Aww.
the drive. So that's lovely. That's what living life is all about. So I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Who wants to go next for their goal?
I'll go next.
All right, Pat.
I was supposed to do weeding and I did do that and now I need to do it again.
Yeah. If the weeds are back, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good. And how did it feel to get out and do the weeding? Was it feel like too much or did you do okay?
No, I just did, bits and pieces here and there and
Yeah.
it was fine. I sat down a little bit, when I was tired, but
Yeah.
yeah, I did it.
Pay,
Weeds
pay,
keeps on giving.
right.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, well that's good. Successful road trip, successful weeding. What other stories do we have? Who else wants to share their how they did on their goal?
Leo.
I was going to say I can do mine. Donna, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, you first, Carrie.
Mine was to go from a walker to a cane. And
Uh-huh.
one of my physical therapy goals was to walk down to our mailbox and back, which my mailbox is in a locked unit area and it's about a block away. So it's a block there and a block back.
Yeah.
And so I did it.
Oh, you did it.
I did.
Fantastic. That's a round of applause worthy for sure.
Awesome.
I kind of for it today, but I did it.
Hey, did it, when we do stuff. So here's one of the things about CRPS is sometimes we feel like if we do something and it hurts or it flares us, we are worried that that's going to be our new normal, right? Or we're going to be, falling apart forever. The reality is that we eventually have to learn that those actions are okay. And sometimes for a few days, sure, we'll have a flare. But remember, flares burn out. Okay, so that's why they're called flares. And so yeah, that's one step or multiple steps, I guess, if we're speaking literally, towards better. So that's great, Carrie.
Yeah, and I made it to the grocery store with a cart and not in a scooter.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
How did that feel when you were doing it?
Fine. I did just fine. And like I said, I did a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. So now today I'm like, oh, but it felt good to accomplish all that. So,
Yeah, it's a learning experience. And I think like I know for myself, when I would try to go to the grocery store with my walker, and at that time I was in my 20s. People make glances even if they don't mean to, and you feel, outcast in certain ways. And so I can imagine if you're using a card and feeling a little accomplished in that way, that would be a great feeling.
hmm
I love it. That's amazing. Okay, Donna, it's your turn.
What
How'd you
am I supposed to say?
How'd you do on your goal for this last month?
Oh, so I read half of the audiobook
Nice.
and we made trout almondine with wild rice and Brussels sprouts yesterday.
Delicious. I have Brussels sprouts in my fridge right now. I'm gonna make tonight.
It's so good.
A,
And we went and got a snowball the other day.
a snow cone?
I call them snowballs because I'm from New Orleans.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure. I don't want to be confused. I didn't know if maybe it was some sort of cocktail.
No, no.
Okay,
It's
well,
called Bahama Bucks. It's a snowball place, and you go
okay.
get snowballs.
I think I've
And
been
then
there
we
actually.
went to the dog park.
Fantastic. So you've been being
And
social, cooking.
yes, and I was able to water my plants outside and only got 20 ticker bites. So, amen.
Amen to that. I love it. Okay. Well,
Woo!
fantastic month. And we've got a few people hiding in the camera off section. Carol and Marcy, I'm calling you out. But that's okay.
Sorry, Chase. Just because I'm having a cigarette, I'll turn it on when I'm smoking.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh,
I'll allow it. Okay,
no.
Jose, how about you? You're muted right now, so I'll unmute you if you can. There you
Can
go.
you hear me?
Yes.
So yeah, I've been doing stretches and glides, trying to increase my range of motion in my right shoulder. Um, my goal, because I could touch the ceiling with my left hand easily, but with my right hand, I was about 2 inches away. My goal was to get about an inch closer, and at times may have been about an inch closer.
Nice.
But I saw a couple of days ago, I follow a Dr. Pascal, and he does weekly videos. And he was talking about why CRPS can shorten muscles, tendons, and ligaments. And so I'm thinking, that may be why my range of motion is not as good, is
Mhm.
because he's saying that fibrogen, when an injury heals, that the fibrogen heals kind of like in a spider web, like a
Mhm.
cross method, and the cross parts, they break off easily, but that healing can cause the muscles, the tendons, and the ligaments to shorten when they're healing. I had uh, uh, frozen shoulder there for months, and I stopped moving it for a while because it was hurting, and it
Mhm.
was the wrong thing to do because I learned about RSD of disuse. You don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of maybe the next step is doing like shock wave or soft wave to help loosen that fascia up. Maybe that'll help my range of motion.
Yeah, you could do something like that, or you could do just like yoga, yoga type stretching for the shoulders. I would agree that I don't think CRPS itself can shorten muscles or ligaments or tendons. I don't think that's what's happening, but I think that disuse of an arm could lead to that because you're keeping it in one place and it might tighten up the muscles themselves, but they can get short, but then you can stretch them back out, because for example, if I cut my skin, yes, there's things that are being laid down to prevent that cut, but eventually that cut heals. You know what I mean? Eventually it goes back to normal, especially as I move my skin around and keep making it malleable. So yeah, shockwave is something you could try. But then even just like there's a yoga app I recommend a lot called Down Dog. Doing a
Yes.
yoga exercise specific for the shoulders or specific for the, upper back and neck would be great. Yeah, I think that's awesome. So almost you got to about an inch. You'd say you probably met your goal there a few times.
Yeah, I think so.
I love it. I love it. And fantastic.
Awesome.
And then who
Awesome.
else? Who else was here last time that has to share their goal? Carol, let's go.
Well,
Okay.
so actually my goal changed a little bit because I'm sorry, is it Jose was just speaking? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Jose, I'm in like a similar situation to you. So my injury was in my wrist, and all this time I've been working. I was so proud. I was showing Chase. I can like this took so long, but
Hmm.
I have something going on in my arm now, my shoulder, and I've reached out to Chase a few times because the physical therapist is like, don't lift things. And then I'm getting scared because I'm like lifting, these little easy weights. But I do agree with Chase that it needs to move. And right now we're working more on getting the movement back in my arm, which I can like, it's uncomfortable. I can get it up in the front, but not on the side. So it really limits my mobility. And that's really what I'm working on. But I did have a goal that I discussed with Chase about getting like jumping back into a social life. So I have, I did do a few things. I teach and summer is coming. So I took my parents for their anniversary to the Irish Fair. I took my nieces to the movies. I went to lunch with a friend. So I really didn't do anything from January until June. So
Yeah.
That's awesome,
that's a lot.
though.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere. I can't even drive.
We'll work on that, Donna. Don't you
We're
worry.
gonna work on it. That is so awesome you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
But
that.
Anna, I know how you feel. I was there. Believe me, I would just cry, and I didn't even leave my bedroom, let alone didn't even go into my own living room. Like I was just in my bedroom crying all the time. So I keep you in my prayers, but it's gonna get better.
I know, I believe it. I believe it 100%.
Yeah. We start working together
Amen.
next week, don't we, Donna?
Yes, on Wednesday, 3 p.m. Amen.
Right.
Amen. Let's
Good
go.
gracious.
Well, that's awesome, Carol. I'm glad we pivoted that goal to be more for also doing the getting back to our social life, right? And getting out and doing things we enjoy. I know a couple people in here that we did things such as, hey, let's go for a dinner date with our husband, let's get back to going to the pool and socializing with the ladies that might be there. That social aspect of things, well, here's a good example. So a lot of the medications that we take for CRPS, they happen to also be depression medications, believe it or not. They're co-used for pain a lot of times. And so what happens is there's certain molecules that bind to receptors in our body or our brain. Okay, so here's our receptors, and the drugs, they bring a molecule and it attaches to or blocks or activates that receptor. That receptor was there long before the drugs were ever invented, ever produced. And so, what does that mean? If these receptors are there, that means they would receive something. And what they're receiving was something that could naturally be produced by our body. And so, when we go out and we're social with people, we have chemicals that are released, the feel good chemicals that come and attach and act as natural painkillers. So I've said this before to a lot of my clients. I don't know if I've said it in Power Club, but when you fall in love and for those first 6 months or a year, you are just infatuated with the person, your brain scan is no different than someone who's literally on cocaine. And so that is the power of the drugs of our body, to that where you could be literally so irrationally infatuated with someone that it's like you're doing cocaine. And so yeah, when you go out and you socialize and you have fun and you see people you haven't seen in a while, that's going to be a natural painkiller on all kinds of levels. So I love that,
How
Carol. That's
about when
fantastic.
you're forever in love with your spouse?
Yeah, if you, I mean, you and Thomas might be on cocaine all the time, Donna. I don't know.
We are. Well,
I'm
I don't like cocaine.
Okay.
Chase,
I don't do
okay.
drugs, but I'm so in love with him. He's my everything.
He is the best. He's a great guy. What were you saying, Carol?
I was saying, and I'm not making a joke, dead seriously. That's what Disney does for me. That's why I wouldn't cancel the trip. I'm,
Yes.
I'm like, they
When's
should
that
afford
trip again, Carol?
not until the end of August.
Okay. So Carol's going to Disney with her nieces and nephews?
One niece, one nephew.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Carol is for those
Fun.
that don't know, Carol is the ultimate aunt
Uh-huh.
of the year.
Yeah. So what's
Awesome.
even better, right, is that they're coming with me. So yeah, I'm looking forward. But
I
I
love
really
it.
get that. Like, it's been a long time since I'm in love, but once a year, I Disney and Christmas, that just makes me happy.
Oh yeah. I love it. Those are you just got me excited for Christmas and
Yeah.
it's we're still half a year away. Okay, well, Janelle, there wasn't a goal for this last month. But maybe you start. What do you want your goal to be for the next month?
Um, is there a lot of noise since I'm in
I
Myers?
can't hear anything.
Okay. I was gonna tell her she's going to Disney. She might know already. She can get it's kind of like a fast pass for people with disabilities. We took my son who has autism, and now I have CRPS, so I officially can get it. And you just literally get on the ride. So you don't have to stand in line so long. So she
Oh,
might want to look into that.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
It's awesome.
I don't have an official diagnosis and I'm not chasing that. You know what I mean? So that's,
You don't just tell them. You
yeah.
just have to tell them I have CRPS.
God, I'll be,
You should try it.
I will. Thank you.
and Chase can be your backup
there you go. Yeah, just
if they
reference
don't
me.
believe you.
Chase.
Yep.
Hey,
No,
that'd
you
be
don't have
good.
to show them any official documents or anything. It's like a
Wow,
little
that's
interview
cool.
they do with you.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
get it. And everybody that's with you gets to use the fast pass.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm going to look into that for sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nice.
No problem. I know. Well, I did have a goal because I did watch the video of the last meeting.
Okay, tell me.
It was, yeah, it was just to get back to life and start trying to walk a little bit longer distances. The pain doesn't bother me. It's the swelling that usually slows me down. People are looking at me. So the swelling hurts, and I'm trying to figure out. I know compression is what slows me down a little bit. And I was kind of like getting down about pain and stuff, and I reached out to Chase, and he pretty much said, "Get back to it." So the next day, I didn't feel any pain, and I was doing everything that I wanted to do. But I think I just pushed it a little too hard because summer's here, and I took my son to a water park. Came home the next day. I
Wow.
mowed the yard and did some weeding and trimmed some bushes. And I had something the next day too. I can't remember what I did, but that fourth day I was flared up, and I was like, okay, that was my fault. I should have just mowed.
Yeah.
Did the other stuff the next day. But I guess it's like I am amazed of I feel like I'm back to life. I am back. I'm just in pain back. So, and the flares make me mad.
Sure. Yeah.
And but I feel like this has like made me think about that I want to stick around for a while. I'm 50 and I need to get back in health wise. Eating healthier. I started yoga, going to yoga classes 2 days a week now. And then my daughter-in-law has a membership to Planet Fitness. And she can take somebody. So I'm going to go with her once a week just to try to, I don't know what it's called, the stepper thing, that machine where you're going up, like walking up steps. Because I'm still not walking up steps and going down steps the right way.
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to do that and maybe some lifting. She was going to show me things, but we'll see how it goes. I start that this week. But I love
Awesome.
the infrared sauna. If
Mm.
anybody can go to an infrared sauna, it's just, I feel like I'm sweating out all the toxins, and it's just like you're in this little sauna by yourself and you can just breathe and listen to calming music. And I've been doing it like 4 times a week. And it's like, I feel like it's calmed me and it's helped resetting my nervous system in a way.
Do they have that at Planet Fitness? Is that where they have it? Or where do they have
No,
that?
there's it's called Vitality. It's like a place where people they take your blood and they check your hormones. And it's a doctor and they try to get you on a health plan, right supplements, whatever
Sure.
it's like it's in there. They have infusions and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm
Very nice.
happy that like right now I'm at Meijer sitting in a corner. But like I'm getting my groceries. I'm tired of having groceries ordered. I'm done with that. I'm not going to pick them up anymore. I'm going to go grocery shopping. So
Yeah. I love that. And bravo to you for listening to my message to get going again.
I think I need like a little message here, like once, maybe a month.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. That's what you need to tell me.
Okay, yeah. Shoot me a message and once a month, on the 15th or something like that.
Yeah.
No,
but yeah,
because those of you who have it in your leg,
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine that, because it took me so long to do anything with my hands. And I think about people like you, like Chase, who had to actually walk on it. That takes a lot. So I think that you have to give yourself credit for, really doing it. That's wonderful.
It has like when it flares, the leg hurts, and then I hate it, but I'm thinking I'm doing this to myself. I start feeling a little bit of burning in my other foot. I'm like, stop it. You're making that happen. Because I'm paranoid about it. And after reading this book.
Okay, so this is actually before we
Darn
set.
it. I was doing that.
But Chase, right? I always when it turns color or something, there's something about seeing it that sets off a psychological, like, it's worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So this is the perfect segue before, and Jose's got the book on the thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely right, Jose. So this is the perfect segue into the book. Carrie, did you have something you were going to say?
I was just going to tell her too, when she goes to Planet Fitness, one thing that I do in physical therapy, instead of like doing the actual steps, do it seated, and you can add resistance to it that way too. And it takes a little bit of pressure off of it, so you can just kind of work through it a little bit. But that's maybe an option.
Yeah, if they have a new step machine, you could do that.
I remember something.
But if they have, you can also do that with a
recumbent
bike.
I do remember that.
And you can also do that with an elliptical as a workup as well. So yeah, if you need to pace it forward with certain machines, you can do that. Great suggestion, Carrie, for sure. I think this is the perfect segue though for the book, because as you said, our expectations a lot of times shape our reality. And when you are okay, so the book, chapter 4, is probably one of the most important chapters, and it's the chapter about psychogenic conditions. Okay. I believe that CRPS is both psychogenic and psychosomatic, meaning that there is a power of suggestion that comes into play with our pain, and there is also a mind-body connection, the connection to emotion that comes into play with our pain. The psychogenic factor comes from our time and our perusal in support groups. And in chapter 4, they demonstrate that in real time with, for example, altitude headaches. Remember, there was one person that they had act as the trigger, and that person they warned about altitude headaches, and then they warned people around them, and those people warned people around them. The people with the most severe headaches were the people most closely in contact with the trigger, the first person warned, because they warned it with more intensity to the other people. And then as the message dissipated, just like in the game Telephone, the intensity calmed down, right? Well, what happens when we're in support groups and we're literally inundated with bad messages about what could happen to our body? Spreading, recurrence, right? Ulcers on our skin, extreme swelling, lightheadedness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, gastroparesis, all these things. There's a percentage of those symptoms that come purely from the expectation of those symptoms happening. And this was demonstrated in a number of examples in the book. And so, there's this feeling that we have, especially after spending time in support groups like some of us might have, where when we start to have symptoms again, even me, now that I spend so much time in support groups because I'm trying to help people, um, I will start to have some tingling feeling somewhere in my body. And then I'll have this like moment where I need to like reset myself and be like, why are you like, don't worry about it. It's just a thing that's happening. And so, this is why I've always said in all my, Zooms in the past, we have to guard our mind in the same way that we, guard our body and guard our environment. Because not only from a pain standpoint can we set ourselves up for worse pain, but from an emotional standpoint, we can set ourselves up for worse. In the demonstration in the book where they were talking about being around someone who's extremely positive, and then their friend of a friend of a friend who's extremely positive can have a huge impact on your life. The reverse is also true. Being around someone who's extremely negative can have a massive impact on life as well. So, yeah. So, anyways, that's one great lesson in the book. Did anyone else have any lessons that they found were impactful for them that stood out?
Mine was the reframing.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
I don't remember what chapter that's on because I didn't, of course, put little tabs in my book, but I did. But just reframing, like how you look at a situation and how you might like reframe it,
Yeah.
how you put a picture frame around something.
Yeah.
And how I looked at it was, kind of like looking through a camera lens. Similar analogy.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes so as an example of one thing I thought of, I had a client of mine message me, and if you end up watching the replay, sorry for telling people about this, but she had a pipe, burst in her kitchen, and it ruined the kitchen floor and ruined a little bit of the carpet. And she messaged me, upset that happened. And I totally sympathize with that because I would be devastated. But my immediate response, since I knew she was in a place that was of despair at that moment, I said, sounds like it's time for that dream kitchen remodel, with like a winky face. And it's silly and it's dumb. But, she laughed because she was like, okay, maybe there are avenues. Like you can't change that this pipe exploded. But you can reframe the situation into a positive outlook. And so yeah, like putting a bow on something sometimes helps, even if you're still the thing you've put the bow on is still ugly in its own way. At least it'll help you get a little bit better picture for the future of it.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what you do so brilliantly.
Oh, thanks, Pat.
Yeah, like you reframe things for us all the time to get our thinking out of where we were.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a spiral. So once at first, before you met me, it was a downward thing. And once you start accumulating enough repetition, it becomes an upward thing. And, this is no fault of your own. Like I was in that position in that way too. This took literal and actually, you know what, this week I'll share with you guys some daily messages I listened to. Ones that inspired my last like motivational video I did. I will listen to them almost once per day, and they basically are just things about positive thought that reinforce that message so that you guys can both like eventually you'll hear my voice in your head telling you the positive things. That's my goal. And hopefully it doesn't annoy you too much, but
No, that's what got me out in January with the joy. You need to get out and go do things, be social, be with people because you're gonna have that natural pain thing happening.
yeah.
And that's what got me going back to scrapbook events. And it was very slow at first, but I mean, I'm excited. I'm actually have excitement now. Before I was like, am I ever going to feel that joy again or looking forward to something, it was gone. Like
Yeah.
I could not get excited about something. My husband would ask me, "Are you excited to go on Saturday?" And it was overwhelming, the thought of I'm in so much pain right now. I got to pack up. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Then I got to drive 30 minutes. I got to get there and unpack that whole process. But I knew once I was there with friends, I would have fun. And I did, and I stayed longer than I thought I could. And I was in pain, but I would be on pain on the couch. So you were in my brain. Since then, I get out there and do stuff, just whether it's 5 minutes or, it's 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
look at me now. I mean, I was excited to go on a 8-hour round trip drive yesterday. I
Yeah.
mean, that was a lot. I slept 10 hours. I'm like tired, but I did it. And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm excited. So you are in my brain, just so you know.
Well, I'm glad.
Also, the phrases that we use to try and talk ourselves down too, are good. The pain is just in your brain, or the pain is not going to last forever. We need to keep reassuring ourselves about those things, because if we don't, we can spiral, I think, emotionally.
Absolutely.
The
And
big thing you say too is flares burn out.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. I keep telling myself when I have them, I know they're going to go away. They hurt really bad, but they're going to go away.
Also, taste, and really just to share with the others, sometimes I know when you get a flare, I'm sure I'm not alone in this, then your thoughts, it's hard to then put those positive, right? So when my arm was giving me a really hard time, like, and this was something new, of course, all the worst thoughts are going through my head. It's not frozen shoulder, CPRS is spreading, like all the, so my physical therapist didn't want me to do the 2-pound weights. And Chase says move. So I text Chase and he's like, "But Carol, when you move your blankets at night, it's like, it's only 2 pounds." And then I just realized how ridiculous that I am going through all this over a 2-pound, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm lifting weights. So it just like put into perspective. You're right. You're making too much of this. Stay with it. Do the weights. And like my arm is, it's coming along, but I couldn't get myself out of that spiral because I didn't know. Chase is in one ear, then my physical therapist is in the other, and they're saying opposite things. And I'm like, okay, now I'm really stuck. But he gave me the explanation, and that, helped, because on the other hand, he's just telling me not to do it. He's not telling me why,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. There has to be sound logic behind it. And, I'll inquire with the physical therapist sometimes, like, why exactly? And if you can convince me like that it makes sense, then of course, then I'll agree. But yeah, same thing. Some of you probably saw Matt's testimony recently. And Matt, he had the same thing. He was worried about moving from 2 pounds to 3 pounds. And I said, "Matt, who pours your milk for you? Is it you or your wife?" And he said, I'll do it." And I'm like, "Okay, how much do you think that jug weighs?" And it's probably around that weight. And I'm like, "It's probably between 2 and 3 pounds if it's full." So, you can do 3-pound weight, I promise. And that reframe is really huge. That perspective, is massive. And so I'm glad that part of the book, the reframing part, was resonant with you guys. A couple of you guys, it sounds like. Was there another part that stood out?
Uh,
I'm trying to look through. One part I got to remember, but they talked about pain medication, right? And the way expectation can
Placebo.
can change that.
oh, I have something that I thought was
Sure. Go ahead, Jen.
very interesting. I thought that it was interesting too, of what, if you do something like, I used to play piano like for 5 years, age 5 to 10. And then I played flute for 5 years. I can't play the flute. I can't play the piano. I stopped doing it. And it was talking about that it gets taken over if you stop doing something with in your brain, the workspace in there, it gets filled with something else that you put in. So it's very important to keep doing things and keep, but there was like, wow, that's really interesting. That like when you stop something, it's going to be harder to start back up. You're going to have to relearn how to do things. But it's not that you can't do it. It's just going to be harder as you get older. But it was weird. It was interesting to think that we just keep filling spaces in our brain that was taking up the space of how to play the flute or how to do music. I just thought that was really interesting because I always wondered that I can't play the piano, and my husband can play by ear. I was just like, I wouldn't know what to do. I look at his keyboard and I'm like, I wouldn't even know what to do. And I played recitals and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is so weird. It got replaced, but it's like, I feel like we have to keep learning and filling it with skills or we're going to just like not know how to do things. So I thought that
Yeah,
was,
Plus,
it's
you're
the
gonna get Alzheimer's.
that's what it was. That too. I'm like, oh God, that's scary. So,
So no, and that's a perfect demonstration of the brain's adaptability, right? Because, it's use it or lose it. But then also when you use it, so for example, if you took a piano player and you start training them in the beginning, the area which represents their hands and their ears in their brain will be very small.
mhm.
But so for me, I don't really play piano. Okay. So if I scanned my hands and my ears or my brain and I looked at that area, it would be really small. But if I looked at Pat's, I bet her hands and her ears, she's a piano instructor. So if she,
Oh,
yeah, so
yeah.
if we scanned her brain compared to my brain, that area of my brain is going to look ridiculous compared to hers. Hers is going to look incredible, right? And
Wow.
but over time, I don't know if I'd ever catch up to Pat, but if I started training myself to play piano, over time, that
It
area of
did.
the brain would grow.
Yeah.
Um, and that's adaptability. And actually, I want to show you while I'm thinking about it, not only is the brain able to adapt that way, but I'm going to show you how Olympic athletes' bodies adapt when it comes to the sports that they're in, okay? So this is in this photo that I'm about to show you, this is the difference between a body that's been adapted for sprinting and a body that's been adapted for marathon running.
No, wow.
Okay, so these are two incredible athletes in their respective sport. One's a sprinter, one's a marathon runner. The body has different types of muscles that it uses for each activity. And so whatever you're giving the body will respond to. And when it comes to CRPS, if we're not giving the body information, if we're not giving the body activity, the body's going to respond poorly to that if we introduce it in too quickly. But if we slowly, like if I tried to practice piano 10 hours a day right now, I would be done for. But if I slowly over time, practice for a half hour, an hour, 2 hours, then I would get good at it. And so to speak to Janelle, talking about how she rocketed herself back to life for 4 days, that's fantastic. I'm glad you're getting back out there. But also you learned a lesson of, hey, let's pace ourselves just a little bit, right? Over time, that'll be easy. Yeah. Very cool. Anybody else? Any revelations in the book?
I wanted to talk about the stress cascade.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
It says stress cascade, a kind of psychological chain reaction that creates a state of alarm, which slowly increases the wear and tear on the body. This is the fight or flight response. And it says over days, weeks, and months, that was thought to lead to exhaustion and sickness. And a lot of people that I talked to that have CRPS, they had stress. I mean, a lot of them are in the medical field where you're almost in a constant state of fight or flight. I remember walking in the building and just having butterflies and being sick to my stomach because of the coming shift. So we need to go to reframing, that type of mentality.
Yes. Yeah, I think that as the book talked about, there's negative expectations related to stress. And then there's the effect of positive expectations related to stress. So there's actually, I can't remember if it was in this book, but there's a video that I'll post in the Power Club page. There's a video talking about stress. If you tell people that stress is good for them, the effect is actually the opposite.
They'll do better on a test.
Yeah. You'll do better on an exam. Yeah, exactly right. From that effect. So like, for me, to give you an example, the CRPS 5K that we're sponsoring is in September. And I tried to run 1 mile yesterday for the first time in a while. And I was like, man, I am old. Like that's what I felt like. But then a couple days later, before this meeting, I ran 3 and it felt like, okay, I'm back to running. And so, I had two different mindsets though, because after that first run, my joints ached. I felt like I was beating up on myself, you know. But then after this run, I'm like excited. And so yeah, could I look at the stress of the forces I'm putting through my feet negatively? Yeah. And then at the same time, I could look at it as this is preparing me, you know. And you can kind of see the way that Pat has the shirt on, but you can kind of see the way that I've harnessed that expectation effect with the shirts, right? Taking it from pain being a bad thing to it being a good thing. So you can see the influence that this book has had on what I'm teaching you guys. And you'll see that influence in every book that we read from here on out. And so this whole experience will shape. But the whole point of the Power Club is to shape you guys up into a position where, you know as much as I do, so that the next person you meet, maybe you could help them how I am, right? So yeah, totally. I love that you brought that example up, Jose.
Behavior is the result of thinking. So if you think negatively, your body's going to react to that. If you think positively, it's going to react positively.
Absolutely. And this goes so far back as I mean, it even shows up in religions, like literally as man thinketh, so he is, in the Bible, and it's in Buddhism, it's in Hinduism, all of it.
As a man thinketh, so is he.
Yes, exactly right.
I put before you life and death, choose life.
There you go. Yeah, that's another one. Thank you for that. I've never used that one, but that's perfect.
Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Yep. Another one.
That was Henry Ford.
Like they talk too about limitless willpower, about how the endless reserves of self-control and mental focus.
In the book?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another good one where there was a time where willpower was thought to be a limited resource. And that you depleted it over the day. But that's actually it's an expectation effect in and of itself as well. So yeah, that's right. Hey Thomas. Oh, you're muted, Donna. Hold on.
I had a meeting and I forgot about it.
Hey Thomas.
How you doing?
Good, pretty good. How are you? Good to see you too.
Good.
Donna was telling me you guys had some good meals recently.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a new HEB. They have a fantastic fish section.
Well, we made
yeah.
trout, almond bean, and rice and Brussels
sprouts.
He makes me eat healthy. I don't know.
I do.
Well, I got it. We're lucky. We got HEB down out here in Texas. Everyone else is missing out.
Yeah. I make him eat Brussels sprouts.
I'm gonna need some pictures of those, Donna.
Oh, well, they're in my tummy.
Oh, okay. Don't take pictures of those. Let's save it for the next time.
They get pre-seasoned ones. They have all this pre-seasoning, so you really don't taste the Brussels sprout. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
No, they're yummy.
All right. Well, good to see you, Thomas. Oh, you're fine.
He just got home.
That's what a guy. Okay, so anything else from the book that resonated?
Me.
What'd you hear? What about it, Donna?
Well, I'm halfway through it, so it's basically about placebo and nocebo. So the placebo is the things that are good in your life. Yeah. And so I wrote down my church, my family, and things I love in my life that I miss. The nocebo part is things that I can't do anymore, and it makes me sad. So yeah. I'm just halfway through it, but that's what I've learned from it so far.
Well, perfect. And we'll talk more about it in our session this Wednesday too, about some things that might be contributing to the nocebo. So on that note, Donna, thank you so much. That's a perfect transition for us. What do you think of your experience with CRPS? Anybody? What do you think has been a nocebo, a negative influence that has led to, real effects on your body, things that you've heard from doctors, in support groups, etc.? What do you think?
Doctors, and also just personal experiences with my basically I need to get over some personal stuff with family issues. And
Now, so you're jumping ahead a little bit, Donna. There's towards the
oh,
end. You're all right. You're just so intuitive. Towards the end here, we're going to talk about our next book, which talks exactly about that. So, can you save that for us?
yes, sir.
Okay. So, Carrie, what were you about to say?
The gaslighting
Okay, talk to me about that.
that goes on, it's in your head.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of the things that are said to you behind closed doors in a doctor's office, like, oh, it's all in your head. But it's not all in my head. I know my body and I know what's going on with it. I'm probably more in tune with it than you are, so
Sure.
it's, I don't know, drink more water, lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think women especially get, I mean, I guess I don't want to assume that, but I've heard that from other people that women tend to get dismissed a lot quicker than men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I could see that. I didn't, I can't speak to that experience since I'm a guy. But I could see that happening. Sure. I could maybe when I would go to appointments with my mom or something like that, I could see a difference, right? So yeah, that could be a nocebo effect in the sense that or that could literally just be a feeling of not being heard or understood, and that in and of itself can make pain worse. Um, and so, yeah, I definitely resonate with that, especially, at times I was told things like I was faking it or I was making it up. It's not all in our head, I could feel it in my foot. I asked people to cut my leg off, right? But, our thoughts about what's happening, of course, can make the pain worse or less, etc., based on our beliefs as well. So, yeah, I think doctors need to do a better job at delivering the message. And that's exactly what he says in chapter 4 of the expectation effect. The medical field needs to do a better job of delivering the message of what's happening, because when they don't, it feels dismissive. And so, yeah, I agree. Anybody else have a no, like, so a nocebo effect is someone tells you it's going to be bad, and then you experience it as being bad. Does anyone have anything that they think lines up? Carol, go ahead.
So I'm cheating. This is from a different book that I'm reading, Chase, the other book that you recommended to me.
Uh-huh.
They were just talking about this. It's like I'm looking at my highlight. I only have part of it, chapter 3, and they were talking about how your beliefs about your future prognosis greatly predicts the prognosis, how it turns out. So, and for people who had like mild traumatic brain injury, 80% of them were able to predict their outcome, and it was really based on their beliefs. And I just think about how, when I first got this and I was reading the most horrific things online, I mean, there's nothing good online to find about CPRS, nothing. It's just all just
Negative.
take them off because it's going to be so bad and it's going to get like people, and how I think that's why I was in so much pain. I mean, there's the physical aspect, but my mind was in such a dark place. So yeah, that was my belief because that's all I had been told about it. And I just wanted to mention too, in that book in chapter 2, it talks about how when they, whatever treatment you choose, whether it's medication or physical therapy, when it's explained to you how it will help, it's more likely to help. And I think that's the benefits of this group because, like at best, you go to a doctor and he believes you. He's going to a tablet and he's not going to explain, you know what I mean? So I think that's, even my physical therapist, he's great. He's not going to answer any questions. He's going to tell me what to do. And then I come ask you why. It doesn't happen. So yeah.
Yeah.
Really beneficial in this group, and that's why I think the support group is really important.
Yeah. And that's you made two very good points, Carol, in that, when we are diagnosed, the doctor says you have CRPS, you're going to deal with it the rest of your life. Good luck. And that in and of itself is a nocebo effect in the diagnosis because it immediately your prognosis is doom. and therefore doom is what you succumb to. Like, you have no other choice. It's not your fault. That's what the doctor set you up for.
And they don't know anything about it. So of course you go to the internet to find out about it, because they'll tell you, I don't really know how to treat it.
Yes, and that's the number one problem, is that they go to the internet, and the internet, a lot of the resources for CRPS are created by nonprofit groups or groups that are not, vetted from a medical standpoint. And so it's this negative feedback loop of information. And just like what was it, the strawberry shortcake or whatever show in Portugal, where they saw these symptoms, then the symptoms manifest. That's kind of what happens. You get into this rabbit hole where you're like, okay, what's happening with me? I need control. And then you see people saying, like, there's stages, it's going to get worse, it can only go into remission. And then that happens. That's the psychogenic aspect, is like, yes, the pain is extremely real, but the pain is modified by our expectation of what might happen to us.
Mhm.
And so I tell this story all the time, but when I first heard about spreading, I read it on Burning Knight's website. And then my dad came home from work. I cried about how it's going to spread to my whole body. And that very next morning, I woke up and it had spread up my leg. That was an expectation effect. That wasn't because CRPS is a poison taking over my body. It was because I was conditioned by what I read and my own fear that was going to happen. And so there is, there's that dynamic, but then there's also the secondary dynamic. What was the second part you mentioned? Oh, about the reason why. So a lot of people, when I first posted my video about desensitization in support groups, there were a lot of people who said, be careful doing this. It really hurt me. You don't want to do it like this. And I said, watch the video first before you say what the desensitization did to you, because I bet your therapist did it wrong. And then some of those people refused to watch the video, but some of those people watched it and said, oh, this is actually very different, and I understand why I'm doing it. So a lot of therapists, they're taught, here's how you desensitize, but they're not taught why. And if you go to a physical therapist and they're just like going to rub you with a cotton ball for 30 seconds, you're going to be like, why are you doing this? This makes no sense. You have
Right.
no belief in the treatment. But if you explain it, if you break it down, you say, hey, we got to update the brain. We got to help the brain understand what's happening, make it feel safe. Then it'll actually work, because you can explain why. And actually, there's experiments where they explain the mechanism behind what they're about to do, and it's complete nonsense. Like they explain it, it doesn't make any sense scientifically, but then it helps. And so then that's the opposite of nocebo, it's placebo effect. And so yeah, the explanation, the understanding that things could get better, that reshapes everything for us, and that's a demonstration of just how powerful this expectation effect is in all parameters of our life, not just medicine.
I have just a small story to
Yeah.
say. I was on a wait list to see this pain doctor that everybody was saying it's great. And I waited probably like 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
And when I went in, he pretty much said this is the worst possible disease you could possibly have. And at the time, my regular doctor was helping me wean off my medicine, because I told him I went off of it. And he goes, well, let's wean. And we made a plan. You're on 200 milligrams. Let's take you down to 150. And then I did that for a month. And then I said, okay, I'm ready to go down. And he took me down to 100. Sometimes I wish they would just give me sugar pills and make me think it's the medicine, because I think it would probably help me. But anyways, I went into this pain doctor and I told him the plan I had. And he said, no, you do not want to do that. That's a mistake. And he was trying to get me to go back up to 200. And I was like, no, and he was telling me that if you have CRPS after 2 years, you'll never recover from it. I think how it is in 2 years is how it's going to stay for the rest of your life. I walked out. I'm never going back to that doctor.
Yeah.
The pain doctor that I know a lot of CRPS people go to.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell them, stop going to them, because I'm just going to, my family doctor, he doesn't really know much about CRPS, but he trusts my decisions I'm making, and he does it. So I'm just
Yeah.
gonna stick with him.
I think that's a great choice. I think that that doctor is unfortunately misinformed. I have
Mm-hmm.
actually this week on Friday, I'm filming a video with someone who was diagnosed at 12 and is now 47 and pain-free. And so, the idea that once you get past a certain window of time, and Carol and I have had endless talks about the window, once you get past a certain window of time, there's no getting better. That idea is flat out ridiculous. And you definitely can. I mean, again, I suffered for 4 years. I could punch my foot as hard as I want right now. And it's fine. And so, yeah.
I've had it for almost 9 years.
Hmm.
Wow.
And you're seeing improvement, Pat.
Mhm.
Pat went in swimming. She did the what were you doing? It was freestyle high diving or something this weekend, or
I wish.
what'd you do? What was it? Was the
I
which
did
kind
the
of
front
stroke?
crawl.
Front crawl.
Yeah, which I haven't done for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And so to be back to that, and when we started working together, we were just getting courage to go dip our feet in the pool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, 9 years, there a huge difference can be made.
I'm
Um,
curious how long Donna's had it.
Donna, how long have you had CRPS? You're muted right now, but I think you told me 5 years, 4 years. Hit your space bar, I think. There you go.
Okay. June 2021.
Okay, so
And
4 years.
where do you have it at?
I fell because I also have POTS. So we were at a festival, and I fell and
Is it in
broke
your
my.
whole body or just a limb? Like, where is it located?
So I fell and broke my left wrist on both sides, which I'm left-handed. So amen. And it has spread through the left side mostly of my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. But I'm gonna start 1-on-1 with Chase on Wednesday. Amen.
I mean, I
Yes. And
didn't have it as long as you when I started with Chase, but how you are right now reminds me of how I was when I started with Chase. I watched the last video, the first meeting you guys did, and I know you're in tears a lot. And Chase knows perfectly well that that's all I did. And I did so much medication that I was just cloudy. And so you remind me of my beginning. And I feel like, okay, I did it. She's going to do it too. So
Amen.
don't give up.
I'm not gonna give up. I met Chase through Charles Maddox, who is Bob Marley's nephew. He referred me to him, and we're in the Trial by Fire 2 documentary with
yeah.
Chase. Amen.
Yeah, we're gonna have to,
I'm not giving up. No way. Mm-mm.
well, if this documentary keeps taking long for production, maybe I can get you feeling better so you can be featured a second time in the documentary.
Amen.
I'm the guy who cries the whole time.
He does.
Charles is good. He got me bawling.
Yeah, don't worry. My dad cries in it too, so it'll be a good documentary.
It's emotion. And I didn't
Yeah.
sleep that night, so
Yeah. Well, Donna,
didn't.
we're gonna hit the ground running on Wednesday.
Best. He's so awesome.
He is the best.
Yep. Wednesday is number 1. Here we go.
All right. Okay. So on that note, with everything we've discussed today, I want to do two things now. I want to introduce the next book, which I did I think before we started recording, and I also want to go through and talk about the new goals for this month that we're going to set for ourselves. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so on my screen, we'll go in the order of on my screen. So firstly, on my screen in the top left is Carrie. So Carrie, what's your goal for this next month?
Oh no.
Oh, goodness gracious.
We can tag out if you need more time.
Yeah, I need a couple minutes to think about it.
Okay. Who wants to go? We'll
I know
switch.
what I'm gonna do.
All right, Janelle, tell me.
Okay,
Hi,
so
how
my
you
goal
doing?
is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Is I want to be able to walk up to a mile. When's the end of June? Is that next week? Yeah. Well, I want to do it by the end of June, and then I
Okay.
want to be 2 miles by the end of July.
I
So
love that.
we'll see how it goes, but that's my
Yeah.
goal.
Okay, we'll check back in on our next visit. And if you need some ideas on like a progression for that you at Planet Fitness or out in your neighborhood, just message me. I can create kind of a little progression
Well, there
thing if you
was
want.
this lady that I saw walking our neighborhood, and she had like walking sticks.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I never seen that.
They're called
And
Nordic walking poles.
I was wondering if just one, like, when I'm lapping the neighborhood, if I get to when the swelling starts to hurt, I don't want to stop, but maybe if I had one of those, I could keep going.
Yeah,
I don't
we could
know.
do something like that. I could send you a link to what one of those are.
I have
Um,
them.
yeah, so you could use
Do
something like
you?
that.
Yeah, yeah, they work well.
Yeah. If you want to send me a progression, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, I'll work on that tomorrow and see if I can send it over to you. Um, let's see. So at the 5K then I'm gonna expect you looking something like this. Hold on,
How
let's see
many
if I can.
miles is a 5K?
It's 3.2, I think.
Is Matt doing it?
Yeah, he'll be there.
Is he gonna run it?
He might fly it. I don't know at this point. He's gonna walk it. But
Okay.
it's gonna be awesome. He just got his hip replaced like yesterday.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's gonna be working
Well,
back up to that.
I love in his video when he said in 4 months he's not gonna have CRPS anymore.
He's awesome. He's down to like one or two. Like I don't like pain ratings, but that's what he's on most days. And he's already after
Wow.
his hip surgery, which was the 19th, he's already up walking around. So I'm stoked for him. Um, okay, so that's Janelle's. We're gonna go 1 mile by 4th of July and then 2 miles by next Power Club meeting. Sounds awesome. Um, all right, who wants to go next?
Hmm.
Carol? I think Donna said so. Carol, you go first, then I'll get you, Donna, okay? All right.
I mean, my hand is progressing well. So my goal is going to be to get my left arm moving out to the side with the 2 pound weight. So that's one. And the other is, I guess we'll meet again like sometime this time in July, which I will have passed my last one-on-one with Chase then. So I have to get myself mentally ready. So I'm going to get started on the 8-week course that I signed up for by then.
Yes. Yes, I think that's perfect. And those of you,
I don't have you to cry to. I have something there.
yeah. Well, you're going to see in that online course, the great thing is there's going to be exercises we probably did or haven't done that will reinforce things. And you're going to see many videos of people just like us and a lot of people that are in here, including Pat and Janelle, on the online course. So you'll see some where they were when we first started working together versus where they are now. I think it's really cool. You can see that. That'll give you some hope too.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And
Okay.
now you come a long way, man, from those videos.
Yeah, she doesn't give herself enough credit sometimes, but I think she's,
You're an inspiration to me.
yeah. If there was,
I have my moments though. Don't get me wrong. There's days that my husband has to get me, motivated to get up. I could, I want, I don't want to give up, but there's some days I just get angry with it. Like I'm mad at it.
yeah,
Like go away.
yeah,
I'm fine. You don't need to be here.
yeah,
That's what I get angry with it because I want it to be a quick fix.
Can I ask a question?
sure.
So Janelle, you've already gone through the 101 and you're the one that convinced him to do the book club. So you still have CRPS? I mean, like how long? I mean, it feels like
I just got it in August. I had 2 back surgeries in September. It's because of a sciatic. My sciatic nerve was pinched. And I think I started in November with Chase.
Yep. And
And when I met him, it was so severe. I was barely getting, up, using a walker to make it to the bathroom. I sat in a chair in the shower. And then, but I saw Chase's video. I don't know how I came across of it. And I watched it, and there's this guy saying that he just started getting up and moving and wiggling his toes, small little steps. And when he said he was bed bound, I think it was 6 months,
On the
I
couch. Yeah.
think. And this was only within a few weeks that I had it. I was like, no, I'm not going to be laying on this couch that long. So that was my motivation before I even met Chase. And I just listened to what he said in that video. He just started desensitizing, rubbing it on anything he could. And I just started doing it. And then all of a sudden, I put something on Facebook, and who's in my comment section? Chase. I don't know how. I think somebody put him in there. I don't know, tagged him. And then I met him, and we did one-on-one. Unfortunately, I only did the short one. I wish I did the longer one, but he's still there for me though.
Yeah. And
So
if you wanted to come back, Janelle, I'm here anytime.
I know.
So Janelle went from when I met her in the car, she was on her way to meet a doctor, and
you know that's not where I was going, but that's okay.
and she was in hysterics. Would that be the best way to describe it? You know, she was very emotional, and it was mostly just calming her down and giving her hope. And she went from that to, you know, getting back to doing the Starbucks event that she does at school. She's a teacher just like Carol, and she, you know, she was doing all kinds of you know, kart racing in her school, and all these kinds of things that she was getting back to life doing. So to answer your question, Jen, does Janelle still have pain? Sometimes, yes. Are there things that Janelle could work on herself and with me that relate to her pain that she hasn't mentioned, that have nothing to do with her back and her physical body? Also, yes. And you can find those things in my online course. If you want to skip to module 7, you can watch some of her videos, and you'll see why the pain is there. Remember, this pain comes as a protection from complex emotions. When Janelle says, I'm angry at the pain is a conduit. She's angry at something else, in my opinion. And the pain, that is why if you look in these support groups and you see people saying, if I post a picture of my foot, you know, and it's all red, the number one comment I see is, that foot looks angry. Wow, it looks pissed off. And I think that there's a huge reason for that. And the emotional component of CRPS is often overlooked. And that is where the next book comes in, which I'll show you in a second. But first we have to finish our goals. Okay.
So I just keep plugging along. I'm on module 4 in the 8-week course, and it's been 13 months since my accident. So I mean, it's getting better. I'm just curious if, yeah, I'm on a wait list for the 101. There's a lot of emotional stuff, I'm sure, that goes in there.
Yeah.
When I did my timeline. So I know there's a lot that goes probably into this pain, but I mean, it's getting better. I was just curious. I mean, my surgeon told me, oh, it'll probably be about 2 years, you know, about, you know, where you'll still have this. He's had people heal, and I'm like, okay, but I'll probably be better with Chase. So, I mean, I just have a positive attitude. It's just, I was wondering, you already went through the 101, and I was just curious if like you were healed. Like,
oh, no, I'm not healed. The burning's there. I don't know, like the busier I am, I'll forget about it, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Somehow my brain has been retrained just to deal with it. But when I get a flare or it gets swollen, I know emotionally I got to work on some things. I'm still struggling with some of my things that got me to that point.
Okay. And I haven't been able to deal with that yet because I haven't done 101. So I know there's a lot of stuff probably that got me to CRPS in the first place. I mean, that's the whole thing with the mind body. But I was just curious. I mean, I was just
real.
If it wasn't because Chase opened me up to make me realize that was contributing to it, I would have never known that.
Right.
I would have never known, and I feel
all
like
these,
that's why I got better.
Videos and books and stuff I'm reading. I wouldn't even, and learning about Chase. I mean, I'm just so thankful. but
Yeah.
because it's only been 13 months and people have had it for 4 years or 10 years or 9 years like Pat. I mean, I'm just thankful I discovered it earlier. And,
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm ahead of the game in that sense, but it just feels like it's sometimes never ending. Like it's still
Yeah.
there.
And I think that you will oftentimes, it's very easy for us, especially when we're in a state of hypervigilance, to let our doubts creep in and ask, like, a question like that where you're curious, have you went through the one-on-ones, are you not feeling better yet? And some of the things that we have to recognize too is that everyone starts in a different place, and the
Mhm.
progress we make is going to be different. And also,
Mhm.
in a different situation, Janelle and I would probably still be working together regularly. But there were some life events that came up where we took a pause.
Okay.
And so that's another thing. So, to look at someone who's gone through the one-on-ones, I would look when you see Janelle's testimony video, which we'll eventually make. That's when you'll know we're officially done working together.
Okay.
Right now, I would call us on a bit of a pause.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I've done 16 weeks and now I'm gonna do 8 more.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, Pat. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So as you go through, you recognize things in life that could contribute to this. And we touched on a little bit in our consult call too, Jen.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone comes different. I had one lady in California, her name was Denise, and she did a 16 weeks with me, felt better after 3 weeks, and said, keep the change. And I said, okay. And she
Oh.
got back to rollerblading. Okay. But she started in a different spot than Pat or Janelle or you are. And then there's also someone, Christina, the one that's in my desensitization video. You know her.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I
in
just
that
watched that.
video, she's in a wheelchair, and I'm going to show you guys something because this is a little surprise we got coming up. But at that time, she had pain in her both legs and arms. Hold on, I'm going to pull this up for you guys. Christina. Here it is. Pain in both legs and arms, unable to lift herself even from bed to wheelchair. She had to use mom and dad for help. We are on week 24 of working together, and mom just sent me this video. I don't know. Can you see it?
Oh my gosh, she's walking.
Yeah, so she's in the mall and she's walking. So everybody's journey is different.
Yes.
Oh
And
my
they would
gosh, that's so I just watched her video. I mean, like I'm just at module 4, so that's like recent that I just
Right.
got to that. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So that video in module 4 was the first time we were trying to stand up with the walker.
Right. She was from
Okay.
the
Yeah.
couch trying to get up. It was crazy.
So, healing takes time, and everybody's journey is different. And eventually I'll have a video with Christina, I'm hoping by September, where we're walking around together. Okay. So that'll be a
Wow.
huge change. But yeah, so I would caution you from comparing yourself to others at any point in the journey, even though it's human nature to do so.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if you can afford it, Jen, to do as many weeks as you can with Chase.
Well, I'm gonna plan to do the 12 weeks. That's what he thinks that I'll probably need, but
I
yeah.
think that'll be perfect. I think we'll be doing it. And if you like,
But
if
who
you like
knows?
it,
I mean, I might have to add more. I mean, we'll never know.
always an option. Okay, Heather just popped in, so we'll let Heather join in while we set our new goals. Okay, so next, who wants to set the next goal? Pat, tell me your goal for the next
I
month.
would like to be able to walk for 30 minutes.
Okay, I like that. And what's that going to take? How are we going to work up to that over the next month?
Well, right now I'm doing 15, sometimes 20. So just a little, like 1 more minute every day that I go
Yeah.
for a walk.
You could do that. You could do a minute every day. You could also do like a kind of zigzag pattern, where you do 18 minutes one day, 22 minutes the next, then 20
Oh,
minutes the next
okay.
day, 24 minutes the next. So you have a little bit of a
Okay.
break.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I think that's totally doable, 100%. Especially with what you've been doing on the bike recently. You've prepared for this.
Okay.
Okay. And what I want to encourage everybody to do when you set a goal that is functional. So when you set a goal like walking for this amount or running for this amount or doing something, I want you to tie that into the stuff you want to do. Okay, so Pat's involved in the church. She wants to potentially volunteer in certain ways there. Being able to walk for 30 minutes is going to translate directly to her goals of being involved with the church. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So being able to wear certain shoes translate directly to Janelle's goals of dancing, with her son at the wedding, right? And so I want you to think about that, and when you set a functional goal, like lifting your arm up, you know, that will translate directly to your goal of dancing, doing the YMCA, in the future, Jose. But if we bolster those functional goals with real life goals, that makes them much more fun to get to. So for me, I'm not enjoying running or preparing for this CRPS 5K in September, but I know that I'm going to feel really cool when I'm able to run really well at that 5K, even though right
Mm,
now I feel horrible.
okay. Okay.
Okay, so we got a couple goals there. Who wants to go next? Actually, before we go on, Heather, how did you do with your goal this last month?
I overall it was good. The past week was the strongest week, but I also learned that I kind of pushed too hard and
Uh-huh.
I didn't pace, and that backfired.
Yeah, that'll
And
happen.
it's starting to get really hot and humid now that all the rain is gone. And the heat seems to be a big trigger. So the combination of not pacing and the heat, but my apartment is almost completely a space of grace. I
Yes.
have 4 trash bags of laundry left. And when I say that, it's also like blankets from the winter, things like that. So that's why there was so much laundry too, because I was trying to wash everything. Like,
Yeah.
Was
dog.
that your goal, Heather? Was the
Yes.
laundry? Oh,
Well,
okay.
laundry was the big piece, but
Uh-huh.
it was also making my apartment home again, basically,
Yes,
because
tidying things. Yeah.
I hadn't been able to go from survive to thrive in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
But this past week was the strongest week, and I was able to dust, and it's finally there.
I love that. Well, I'm glad. And even we talked about it before you joined, but sometimes getting back to life involves, learning a lesson of, hey, I should have paced a little better. But what you're feeling now is not forever. So when things calm down, we can resume our laundry task. Do you want that to be the goal for this next month? Is the laundry
I
one?
would say for this next month, because laundry is just about under control,
Yeah.
I would say next month is to establish those rhythms to
Okay.
where it's not needing to go from survive to thrive. It can just stay.
Yeah.
And I can basically, I guess this next month, learn to pace.
Yeah, so that'd be good. So let's expand on that goal. Let's make that like establish a routine of like, hey, on Wednesday and Sunday, I do a little bit of tidying, or a household task. And the reason I mention those days is because those are the days my mom instilled in me. So you can pick any day you want. And then lastly is, yeah, let's be a little more kind to ourselves on the pacing front. And so that's perfect. I think those are great goals. Okay. And then who's next? Who wants to
Go.
set another goal?
I can go.
All right, let's do it.
I would like to get back to scrapbooking more. I do a Zoom once a week that gets me in my scrap room because I paid for it.
Yeah,
And I'm with friends. I'm so sorry. I have a frog today in my throat.
that's okay.
But I used to scrapbook like 4 or 5 times a week, and it brought me joy because I'm home alone by myself when my husband's working all day, and the cats don't talk to me. They sleep all day. So it's kind of something I would like to try, but I'm not getting back in there. It's like I don't know why.
Do you want
So
to set something up, Jen? I scrapbook.
I would love that. Seriously, I would love it because the social is what I miss, and I don't have
Yeah.
any scheduled for the next 2 months for any day crops going out of the house. And I have a friend coming next weekend, but I don't have anything scheduled the next 2 months either. So they're all busy. So I'm like, I need something because I'm home all day and it's like, wow. But I don't know what I need something to get me going. Like get in there, do it.
Yeah,
Have
well, if
fun. Like I
we
don't
do
have it.
it together, if we do it
I would love it.
together,
Let's
I
set that
think
up.
that will help you. It will
Yeah.
help me too.
Yeah, it just brings happy and I need more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So my
just-
mind doesn't go elsewhere. That's what I need. So, because when you're home alone, you think about the pain, you think about all the other stuff and why me and poor me or whatever. I don't like that. I like to be positive, but it's hard when you're stuck at home. So, and it's hot now. I don't want to go out and about and, waste gas for no reason. So,
So Chase,
and
how would we set that up? Because I'm not on Facebook.
Sure.
can you
So
FaceTime? Do you have an iPhone?
So what I'll do is I will connect you guys together, okay? So I'll
Okay.
put you together in an email and then you guys can exchange contact info, okay?
Okay. Thank
Okay.
Let's do
you.
that. That'll be a good way to do that. And
Alright.
the platform that we're doing the Power Club through, we can always communicate there, but I can toy with the idea of creating a separate I don't know. I'll have to figure something out because that platform isn't pleasing me the most. It's not intuitive to use yet. It's newer. But we'll figure it out. But anyway, so your goal, Pat's gonna help you with. That's beautiful. I was gonna suggest potentially that because Pat's wanting to be doing the scrapbooking too. Okay, who's next? Who wants to go next for a goal? Donna, I forgot. Donna, you go, and then Jose. And you gotta unmute again, Donna. It unmuted you.
So first thing is, I would like to know what our next book is and also, goals for this next month. Amen.
Okay. What do you want? What do you want your goal to be for this next month? Or is, what's something you want to get back to doing this month that you think would be possible or doing more of?
Gardening and cooking, but I got too many ticker bites.
Okay, so what we'll do then, Donna, is we'll strategize. That'll be an overarching goal, and then on Wednesday when we start, we'll strategize on what that might look like. Does that sound good?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay, we're gonna hold you to it, and those darn bug bites. I'll tell you what.
They're a bunch of big.
Okay, all right, Jose, it's your turn. What's your goal?
So before I say my goal, I want to read this from chapter 3, Do No Harm. So it says, nocebo means I shall harm. And the nocebo response occurs when when we believe the body is under threat. Through the actions of the prediction machine, that's
Oh my gosh.
physiology, so that the mere thought of having a symptom or disease will make us ill. So one of the problems I've had is I've been afraid to move my arm or my hand because sometimes a simple movement can cause pain, and I don't want the pain because sometimes the pain can last an hour or days or what have you. So my wife is very short, so she has a step ladder, and she's been, using a step ladder to get stuff that is high. And I either been using my left hand or not helping her at all. So my goal is to do some more stretches, some glides, maybe some yoga or some shockwave to try and be able to touch the ceiling with my right hand, and then maybe I can help my wife more if she needs help getting stuff that is really high up.
Okay, so that reaching tied in with a goal that is meaningful to you in helping your wife. That's fantastic. And yeah, you're exactly right. That perception, that fear of pain is a big part of what keeps us stuck from a nocebo standpoint. In my online course in module 8, I showcase a movie scene from the movie Dune. And that scene encapsulate what fear is, and it's very symbolic when it comes to CRPS. Like if you don't see the symbolism with CRPS in that scene, you're not looking hard enough. But yeah, overcoming that fear of that pain and how long it might last is a huge part of breaking free from this, mind spiral that we get into. And yeah, there was I think it's Eric Thomas. He has a speech where he says the pain may last for a day, an hour, or even a year. If I quit, however, it lasts forever. And I think that that's a very meaningful quote in that, you know, we can avoid it as much as we want, but you know, if we avoid it, we know where that road leads, and it just leads to continued pain. So yeah, perfect goal. Working on the reaching still, but with the caveat of this is to help my wife. I love that. Perfect. Okay, who do we got left? We got Carrie, you got a goal. You need a goal here.
I guess this is also a physical therapy goal is to be able to walk up to a step and step up without hesitation.
Okay.
Because stairs freak me out. So I get to a step and I'm like, you know, so that's one of the things getting to the mailbox is I have to take a step down, walk across the street, take a step up.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, going to be my next goal.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect goal, overcoming the fear of that step. I think that
it's the whole balance thing too, is learning, you know, teaching my body my center of balance and stuff. So
yeah. I think that's fantastic. I love that. I love that goal. So overcoming the fear of stepping up onto a step, stepping up just once. Is that the goal?
Yeah, I mean, I got to start somewhere.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that's a small goal at all. I'm saying that's a great goal. And you know, sometimes that first step is very much the hardest. So good. That sounds great. Did we get everyone for goals? I still got to do mine, but did we get everybody?
You can put me on the scrapbooking list too.
Okay.
You scrapbook, Carrie?
I do.
Oh, yay. I'm so excited.
Well, I'll connect all three of you guys via email, okay? And I'll also send in an email a couple of the things I referenced. For example, the motivational speeches I listen to pretty regularly.
Okay.
The scene from Dune that I referenced. It's all about fear, and the quote in the scene, you can look up "Fear is the Mind Killer" poem from Dune. I don't know if you would call it a poem, but it's like a speech. I think that very much speaks to CRPS in a lot of ways. For me, you know, I'm going to take 10 pictures and edit them. So I want to set a more realistic goal for myself. But then on top of it, I'm going to continue my training program for the CRPS 5K. Right now I'm kind of behind on it, so my objective is to catch up by the time we meet again. Okay, so I'll fill you in on how that's gone next time I see you. Now, he's got the stack of books there. Nice, Jose. Oh my gosh, he's got them all. I love it. Okay, so beautiful. And I see Gabor in there. So Gabor Mate is the next person author we're jumping into. So this is When the Body Says No by Gabor Mate. That's our next book, okay? This is setting us up for a book that comes after it. Okay. Yep. There's the other alternative cover.
Oh yeah, that's the cover I have.
Yeah. Either are fine. They're the same book.
Okay.
And the audiobook is read by his son. So if you like audiobooks, that's a great one to get. He does a really good job at performing it. This book is setting us up for future books. So this book makes a lot of large claims, but he's not the only one that makes these claims. And if you are going through the book and you want to get to know the author a little bit more, I would very much encourage you to search Chronic Illness Gabor Mate on YouTube. Okay. And actually in our email that I'll send, I'll include a couple videos from him as well to get your feet wet. But that's the book for this next month. And I think it's going to be a very moving and eye-opening book for a lot of you. It was for me. Okay, so that'll be it. And I think we've had a wonderful second session of the Power Club, and I'm very excited. And I'm going to put this up for people to see, and hopefully we can encourage some more people to join us. I think that'd be great. We are missing Amy and Renee, and who else are we missing? I'm going to call
Thanks
them
for
out so
letting
they
me-
join next time.
Thanks for letting me join late. I was
It's
out,
okay.
but I'm actually dog sitting. One thing to add to my goal, well, this is Coda. The other one that I was randomly holding is one that I'm dog sitting. One thing to add to my goal, which it does work with the learn to pace Coda, and to establish rhythms. I received a scholarship to start college in the fall again. I have about
Yay.
15 hours left. Next week, I'm going to be emailing with the assistant director of student success online and kind of figure out what to do. So
Okay.
learning to pace and establish rhythms also applies to that, because at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. And with it being summer, my body's kind of getting to just breathe.
Sure.
But, and in July, I get to dog sit the 2 dogs that I'm with right now almost the whole month, which is awesome because it means I don't have my staircase at home, my apartment stairs.
Yeah.
And I don't have to walk my dogs in the heat.
Okay. That'll definitely help take the load off a little bit.
There'll be a little bit more recovery, and I won't have to clean a whole lot because I won't be home to clean.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing, is being able to put the college piece into the mix and basically figuring out, like using this as an example of, okay, where can I plug this into a rhythm to start reading and kind of act like that's the college course in a sense.
Absolutely.
Yes, you have to make this like a call or like a class. I too was having trouble figuring out how can I put this in my time to read. I'm not a huge reader. And so it's like, I almost have to set in my mind, I'm going to school. I'm going to go to school from 2 to 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, it helped. I finished the book, but
yeah, it's I think using that, Heather, that speaks to using your goals that we're setting as an overarching for a future goal, I think is perfect. And Jen, you're absolutely right. This has to be and even for me, I'm rereading these books, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm putting back my learner's hat, and then reinforcing these lessons for you guys. So I think we've had a great second session. I'm so glad to see all of you that made it, and I'm calling out Amy and Renee to show up next time.
I'll come next time.
No, you're fine. And yeah, we'll keep going, and I'll be excited to see what you guys think of this one. And this one is just gonna scratch the surface of the water to the ones that I'm really excited about, which are sitting over here on my other desk. And so I gotta prepare you guys for those. We can't jump into those right away.
oh no.
Okay, so this is going to be great. For those of you that I see this week for coaching, I'll see you soon. And for those of you that are just going to join us, actually next weekend, 6/28, I'm going to do a live Q&A. Okay, so that's for everyone, that's even people that aren't in the Power Club. So if you want to get in on that, there'll be a notification going out via email on my email list and on Facebook. So you'll see that.
What time is that?
Same time as this was today.
Okay.
That'll be Q&A 9. So come with questions and I'll answer them in real time.
Okay.
All right, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday evening. And I love all the successes we had this last month. Let's keep it going, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
See you
Chase.
guys. Yeah,
Bye.
thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, John.